Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna discuss fashion trends I think have aged like milk. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a couple of months now. I so want to credit Phoebe Taylor. She did a video talking about fashion trends she thinks will age like milk a couple months ago. So I wanted to talk about fashion trends that I think have already aged like milk, if I do say so myself. Now, this doesn't mean I hate the trends that I'm gonna talk about. Some of this I maybe still wear, I think, maybe some of them. But when discussing the current trend cycle, these trends are just not as relevant anymore. It's not something you really see in your everyday life like you used to a couple years ago. So the first one is actually the whole groovy pattern that we had going on back in 2020. This is nowhere to be found at the moment. I think this is what happens whenever a pattern starts trending. You know that it's not gonna be around for a long time. People usually get tired of patterns so much faster than anything else. I think I had like 2 tops with this groovy pattern and I was so into it in 2020, just like everybody else. I love looking at old Lainey Ozark's videos and she was all over this as well. Peak 2020, peak COVID time, and no one is really wearing this anymore. The next trend that I think has aged like milk are sweater vests, and I feel like some people are definitely gonna contradict me on this. I do think there's a specific sweater vest that is always gonna be very, I don't want to say timeless, but it is kind of timeless. It doesn't really matter what year you're wearing it. If you style it in the right way, it's not gonna look dated. But I do think there are specific sweater vest patterns that are super dated nowadays. I never got this specific sweater vest, and I remember a few people pointed out back then that it was gonna age like milk. Also, as much as I love Argyle, and it definitely does remind me of my grandfather, and it's always gonna have such a special place in my heart, I do think Argyle aged like milk because it was so overused. I don't mean it aged like milk in the sense of grandfathers and kind of their style, but I just haven't seen a young person using this in quite some time. The next thing that has aged like milk is definitely cow print, no pun intended at all. I haven't seen anyone wear this in the past 5 years, and I know I don't go out a lot, but I haven't seen anyone online wearing cow print in the way that people wore it in 2020. Of course, cowhide was trending last year, but that's kind of very different from cow print. I do think cowhide is gonna age like milk as well. I just don't see it being as relevant in, let's say, 2026. I don't think it's as relevant anymore as it was last fall. But cow print definitely aged like milk. People used to paint their rooms like this. I talked about this in my 2020 fashion video. Something else that aged like milk, let's go back to the 2010s, is the Thrasher, Adidas, and Hypebeast Supreme aesthetic that was trending from 2016 to 2018, or I will argue maybe 2019. Were my high school years, and everyone around me and online used to wear this all the time. You were kind of not cool if you didn't have this Adidas tracksuit pants or whatever. I didn't have them. I didn't have the money to buy them. I didn't even know where to buy them. It was kind of sad. Looking back, I kind of cringe. I mean, this was definitely a time in fashion, if this was even fashion. While I do think Adidas is kind of timeless, the brand in itself has been relevant for so many years. I do think what people were wearing from Adidas back in 2016 is not timeless. Something else that I think has aged like milk is patchwork, especially on jeans, but I would argue on tops as well. Patchwork corsets, that's kind of not a thing anymore. These kind of jeans are definitely burrowed very, very deep in some people's closets as we speak. Something else that aged like milk are cropped corsets. I feel like they were only relevant in 2022. I bought one and I never wore it outside of my house, which it was such a stupid buy. I do like corsets that are a little longer, that don't necessarily look like corsets, but corsets that look like undergarments, I'm just not into wearing them. I don't know about. Something else that has aged like milk, okay, this is more recent. I do think it has aged like milk already, or if it hasn't aged like milk, it's so gonna age like milk in a couple of months. I haven't talked about this in a second, but I've been so open about the fact that I hate the bow trend. I think it has low-key already aged like milk, especially just wearing like a little bow on a shirt. I've always hated that. I don't think it looks cute at all. Also, wearing a lot of bows in your hair, wearing like a shirt with a lot of little bows, or like even putting them on the jeans, no. I think it's aged like milk already. I think people are gonna look back and they're gonna cringe a little bit. I've mentioned before, and some people have mentioned it as well, that it's kind of like the mustache trend that we had back in 2012. This is gonna age like milk. This is not gonna be as cute in a couple of years. It's just not a trend that I like. I know this is a video of trends that have already aged like milk, but I'm kind of putting a little prediction out there. Polka dots are gonna age like milk, which is really sad because I do love them, but people have been taking them to another level, in my opinion. Definitely let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you think polka dots are gonna age like milk. I do think there's a certain material that a lot of brands have been making their polka dots clothing with that is gonna age like milk. I'm not sure if this is polyester. Listen, the people who loved polka dots before they became a trend are gonna keep wearing them after it dies down, but the people who are only wearing them because it's a trend are gonna probably move past it. I don't know. Something else from the 2010s that aged like milk, this is gonna surprise no one, but skinny jeans. Now, I mean actual skinny jeans. I feel like there needs to be a discussion about what skinny jeans are, because I've seen some people calling some jeans skinny jeans, and those are not skinny jeans. The skinny jeans that I'm talking about are the ones that were almost leggings. But what I think aged like milk specifically is wearing very, very, very skinny jeans with tight tops. I just don't think that looks good anymore. No one is really wearing this other than, I guess, people who are stuck in the last decade. I know some people are gonna hate that I said that. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm not taking back anything that I'm saying. I stand by what I'm saying. So I do think it looks very 2010s, and it just doesn't look cute, in my opinion. Something else that aged like milk, this is also from like 2018 to 2021, is the blazer plus biker shorts combo. If you guys remember, this used to be everywhere. I don't know why we were mixing blazers with biker shorts. I think biker shorts by themselves are kind of timeless, and blazers by themselves are also timeless, but mixing them together, what was that? Anyway, something else that I think aged like milk are this type of shirts. Actually just got rid of something super similar in my last closet clean out. Another thing that I think aged like milk are bucket hats. Now, I do think people who have always liked bucket hats are still wearing them, but I think wearing bucket hats as a trend and kind of as part of streetwear outfits definitely aged out. We were so wearing that back on the prime of TikTok. I do miss those times. I think there were simpler times, but when discussing trends and how relevant they are in 2025, that just doesn't make the cut, in my opinion. Something else that aged like milk are Filas, and I wore mine until 2022. Filas definitely aged out. Chunky sneakers, the dad sneaker, they are nowhere near fashion as of late. Something that we're using now, I mean everyone knows this, is the kind of bowling shoe, something completely different to what we were wearing back then. Something else that didn't age well is the money piece hairstyle. Super relevant back in 2020, 2021. This was kind of paying homage to this trend from the early 2000s. And if you guys had a little bit of conscience back in 2013, 2014, people used to criticize these hairstyles a lot, and back then people used to say that those hairstyles had aged like milk. So when this money piece hairstyle became popular a couple years ago, I knew it was gonna age like milk. I appreciate trends, but I'm also able to say they didn't age well, and this is one of those trends that did not age well at all. Well, I do know there were way more trends during the past couple of years. I think some of them have aged more gracefully, or we've managed to transition them to 2025. Definitely let me know if you want me to do a second part to this video of trends that I think have aged well, or trends that I think are aging well. But yeah, those are the trends that I had for you guys today. I wanted to keep it a little bit more recent. If we go all the way back to the early 2000s, I mean to the early 2010s, we could definitely talk about galaxy pants and just a whole nother bunch of trends that I think age like milk, that I think are coming back around. It's gonna be in another couple of videos. In the early 2010s, we're such an ick time in fashion, and it's coming back and it makes me feel so weird. Bandage dresses are also coming back. They age like milk once and they're gonna come back again. So even if things age like milk, they'll find a way to come back into the trend cycle eventually. So just a thing to keep in mind, definitely. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Definitely let me know if you agree with these things in the comments or not. I'm not gonna back down from what I said, but I do want to see other people's opinions on this, and definitely stay tuned for more videos. I'm definitely gonna come out with I think I'm gonna do fashion trends in 2013 next, so stay tuned for that. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.